Labour's taken a hit in the latest political poll with national support surging ahead. The latest Newshub Reid research poll has Labour down 6.1 points to 38.2%, while Nationals up 9.2 points to 40.5%. ACT and the Greens are both down in the poll, while the Māori Party has seen a small uptick in support. For more on this, we're joined by Newshub political editor Jenna Lynch. Jenna, thanks very much for being with us this morning. How much soul-searching is going to be going on in Labour right now, particularly because there's some other figures that are telling another story as well. 60.1% of Labour voters say they're not doing enough on cost of living. Is this going to be worrying them?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Labour and Jacinda Ardern have been well and truly knocked off the COVID pedestal that the country had them on. These numbers confirm that. National now streaking ahead of Labour in the polls. That's 77% of New Zealanders that don't think the government has done enough to address the cost of living crisis will be one number that the government is really focused on. Labour were really late to the party in recognising that there was a cost of living crisis, that people were really hurting. Rents are going up, the groceries are going up, mortgages are going up, the price of petrol is going up. It's all anyone is talking about, and Labour was kind of dragged kicking and screaming to admit that there was a problem for starters and then even try and do anything about it. The one move that they have made, that petrol tax cut, we're about halfway through the 3 months that is currently remaining in place for them. Already we're seeing the prices start to go up there. The other things that they're pointing to that they've done, the benefit increases, the working for families increases, they were planned in last year's budget before we were facing this kind of uncertainty. They were already needed back then. The other thing that Labour points to is its winter energy payment. The rate of that payment hasn't changed since 2018 when it was introduced, so it's not really relevant for a cost of living conversation.
And this is, of course, an issue that we've highlighted here on AM, and it's an issue we know people really care about going into the election. But also, what about personal politics? You know, how do people sit in terms of preferred PM? What did the poll tell you there?
Yeah, so Jacinda Ardern took a massive knock, down 7 points, which is bigger than her party knock. And as we know, the Labour Party's fortunes are intrinsically tied to Jacinda Ardern's popularity. Christopher Luxon up to 23.9. He's still nowhere near Jacinda Ardern's star power, but he is the most popular leader that National has had since Sir Bill English.
Now, you have some exclusive new details from that poll that you can give us this morning. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so in the lead up to this year's budget, we've taken the pulse of the nation on a bunch of policies to see what you want from your budget this year. And one of the things that everyone's kind of focused on, as we've said, is cost of living. One of the policies that's been proposed there is one from the Māori Party, which is to remove GST from all food. So we asked voters whether they think whether they would support removing GST from food. A resounding yes, more than 3/4, 76.6% want GST removed from food, while 18.5% don't support that policy and 4.9% don't know. Possibly don't raise your hopes too high for that one out of the budget. It would cost billions and billions and billions of dollars. And Grant Robertson is already dampening expectations for any kind of cost of living package out of the budget, saying that his core focus is still health and climate, as he signalled in December. We have asked a bunch of questions about this, and we'll bring you some interesting results tonight on Newshub Live at 6 as well about whether the country is interested in a tax cut.
That'll be an interesting one. So on the GST, clearly people are overwhelmingly in support, but the political parties are saying, look, that's actually just not going to happen.
Yeah, it has been proposed in a number of different forms before. Labour has proposed a removal of GST from fruit and vegetables in the past. It's been trialled in a number of other countries. One of the things that politicians always kind of fall back on here is that our GST system is so simple. So if you start tweaking and removing and creating exceptions, then it just becomes a bit of a tangled mess. But it is something that this time around the Māori Party has said all food, so perhaps perhaps it would be a little bit less complex to try and figure out what exactly fits into the category of removing that GST from.
Excellent. Political editor Jenna Lynch, thank you very much for being with us this morning.